Hey folks, I'm back again with another sketch demo. This is a sketch I did for a contest or a feature week or feature month on a Facebook group. And the theme was a Ford Thunderbird. So this was actually a mistake sketch. You can see all my mistakes here. This was the blotter page. And I fell in love with the sketch, the way I set it up. I decided to make it a full illustration. So hopefully that won't be seen. It won't be seen on digital, but I can see it here. It's all down it's all my mess. This was a blotter sheet from another piece. Just a whimsical sketch, and I liked what I did, so I kept on doing it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make a side view or a rear 3/4 view of this car. So I'm going to have it taped up here where I can see it for reference to get some of my features. And I've done a preliminary sketch. It's in my mind, but it's also upstairs. So I'm just going to do, again, I don't know whether you can see it because I sketch with a ballpoint pen. So I'm going to lay my ground line down. I'm going to sketch my rear wheel. It's going to be kind of like we're laying on the ground, looking at the car. Then the front wheel is going to be down here. Sometimes I turn the wheel, so that could be more of a circle since the front wheel is turning. So, since the car's it's themed after the early 1961 Thunderbird, which they were called the Bullet Birds. They were really wide wide through the cowl, and they tapered off real sweet to a bullet back end. So that's basically what I'm going to try to do here. Try to convey this theme through the sketch here of the rear. So it's going to come up. It's going to swell down to where the interior is. Then it's not going to go back up much. But with my perspective the way it is, it's naturally going to be tall here and thinner back here, farther away from the eye. So I'm going to have to show that line to be almost flat, but make it perspective just as well. So then I'm going to show a little bit of fin, because the first Thunderbirds had a fin to them. And that's the end of the fin. Now, on the other side, on the right side, I'm going to give me a little reference point here as to where that fin would be. So if I'm sketching the bottom, I'd loop it around, give it a little plan view, a little radius back here. So it's got a little, and I'm going to draw the center line here. That'll give me a reference for how far that car is going to curve around. And then, since I showed some little baby fins, I'm going to put the top of the deck lid in so I can show myself how little of a fin is on there. So there's the center line, as if we took a saw and just cut it right down the middle of the car. So everything on the other side should match, or unless I'm not doing anything asymmetric on this car. So the car's got a skirted wheel. And what I did was I took the styling theme from a later Bullet Bird. They just added some features to it to make it different from year to year. And this one's got a little hockey puck hook in the quarter panel, and I took it right down to the fender skirt. The Thunderbird had fender skirts on it, and that's what made the car look really long and low and really bad, in a good way, bad. So I'm going to bring the quarter panel back here, and then there's some rocker or undercladding down here, and on the front view, I've got a little what looks like a air scoop where you could use for cooling the brakes, or just some little fun stuff. But the body cuts in a little bit here, and then it comes right back out to the front wheel, like that. Now I'm going to show a little tire thickness here. Maybe this wheel is skewed. It's just turned just a little bit. So we'll tuck in the rear of that front wheel, and we'll let the front of the front wheel stick out. Now, because the car's got some severe taper, I'm chopping off the front end. It's going to roll around like that. So I already suggested to somebody that I'm going to give this car a hardtop, so you'll get to see the hardtop version in the rear. So, going back in a little history, the Thunderbird had what was known as the Thunderbird roof, where the C pillar, this is the A, the B, the C. If it was a station wagon, it would be a D. So the C pillar was really thick and fat. All the cars through the 50s had thin pillars all the way through, especially the GM product. And 1958 saw the first Ford Thunderbird four-seater, which tripled in sales because it was usually a roadster. But a lot of the Thunderbirds through the years tried to keep that roadster feel in a bigger car. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this car a Thunderbird roof. Let's see, it's going to come back a little bit like this. And I'm going to give it a nice big fat thick C-pillar here. So the roof is going to come across here. I'm going to sketch the right side, the top, and then the right side here. And then I'm going to give it, radius it up a little bit. Now, this car's got an inset. The roof is sitting on top of the body, which was very common in the 60s. Late 60s, we saw Chrysler had the fuselage design where the roof just flowed into the seat panel, into the quarter panel, and there was no brake. And it was quite a full-bodied car look, and it was a trend. All the car companies did it. So I'm going to draw the center line there. So this is my, wait a minute now. I got to get this right. Like that. Like that. And then get this trunk elevated a little bit. So, I'm going to get the little thickness to the back tire. Like I said in my first sketch where I did the sedan, I meander through the sketch. If my eye catches something, I go ahead and do it because I don't want to forget it. So this is the left rear wheel, or the right rear wheel, the left. And then I'm going to sketch the underside of the car. This will give us our foundation because this should be dark. It's going to be either a dark line and then the the right front wheel. It's going to be over here. And this is the shadow of the car on the ground. So I like to make mine very traditional. I put the dark shadows on the bottom because if I do a white car, I want all the details and the shadows to really give you the contrast through it. Okay, I'm gonna lightly sketch in my reflection here in the side glass. And you'll see a little of the A-pillar coming down. And then on the other side, you'll see the A-pillar coming down here. And you'll see the side opening in the car. And like I said, this is really light sketching. It's for my own reference point. Let's get a little headrest going on here, the driver's side. This is the driver's side for all you UK drivers. Drive like the Queen drives. There's the center line for the seat headrest. And this car, since it's a roadster, has some rear headrests. So we'll get those in there too, because they're going to block those. Like that. Now, there is a little bit of a blister in the quarter panel that comes down like this. So that fin grows out just a little bit. So I'm just going to lightly put in a line there. I could come in if I decided on what color the car is going to be, come in with a pencil, that color, and just lightly sketch that. So I'm going to jump back to the tail lights. And for years, Thunderbirds always had big tail. Since '67, they had big tail lights across the back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to key this tail light off that fin. And I'll do this. And this will be a little emblematic of the '79 Thunderbird. Like that. So, I got to make it fall towards my perspective, because my perspective is going to be up here and the vanishing point is going to be back here. So, then I'm going to give it a little bumper thickness so the taillights don't get shattered out by a shopping cart in the parking lot. Let's have it curve up like that. So then this will be, let's give it a little slope, because the way I sketched the front one, you don't see much of the back, which is the reason why I'm giving you a rear detail. So this is the sketch that will tell the story of the back of the car. So, I got one of these bad boys. That'll be used later. Just get it out of the way. And then, let's see, I'm going to need a side marker light. I don't show it on the back one, but let's give it a little horizontal light here. And I didn't show it on this one, but I'm going to give it a little side marker light here for the turn indicator. But when you cut in your doors, that's actually emblematic of the section of the car. So since I have a shoulder to it, and then I've got a linen fold here, and it cuts back just a little bit, I'm going to do that. And a lot of times I just leave the ink pen as the door cut, and I highlight the shadow areas. So this is going to be down like this, and then again the door cut's going to come and it's going to return back, because this styling line comes back and cuts down like that. So I'm going to come down and give the little body a sensual curve here right before the rocker. Okay, so I put the mirrors up high, give it that roadster feel. And then let's see, we need a third brake light. We'll just lay that in the trunk. Let's make it match that wedge here. Okay, now I got to decide what color. I've been kind of muddling around the idea of trying something in color. The other one is the illusion of being a white car. Oh, let's give it some exhaust. Got to have some exhaust coming out here. So I'm going to straighten up, correct some of this, and put some exhaust ports in here. Again, this one's going to be wider because it's closest to us. This one is going to be thinner, and it'll give the illusion that the back is rolling around. So what I do is I carry that center line so it looks like a little blip hanging out there. A little bumperette, so to speak. So get this line as correct as possible. And still not correct. Let's get it lower and then taper it. Put the car on a diet. There. So, let's see if I can get my mind wrapped around a color. I think I'm just going to stick with the same color as the original sketch. It's what I feel comfortable with. Let's go with the warm gray, which will give me a metallic pewter color or a white color. And I'm going to hit everything where the light is going to be a shadow. So since the car's got a little fin on it, then this is going to be a little blister. Remember, it's going to come down here like this. So that is going to be a shadow, a shade as well. And then I'm going to hit the door. I can always come back and erase. That's what's great about pastel. Just burnish it in and you can come back and erase it, highlight it. Now, I don't know whether I showed you guys this before, but here's the pastel. It's well worn. But what I do is I take a piece of paper, fold it over, and I take a blade, and then I shave it to a powder. And then I just take the cotton pad. These are makeup pads. You can get them at the dollar store or any of your cosmetic or where cosmetics are sold, Walmart or any of the drugstores. I fold it in half. It's a round pad. You can use it twice. I fold it in half, dab it in the pastel, and then I just start sketching with the pastel. Now I'm using newsprint, but vellum and other expensive papers can give you a beautiful finish. So what I'm doing here is getting the corner, because this car is going to turn. This is one light source. This is another light source. So this is going to be a little darker over here, because the best way to view a car is with the sun setting in the side. So we're going to give this a shade here. Make it blend, because there's going to be a core come through here. Okay, now here's what I do when I'm doubtful as to the strength of my markers. I take one and do a little test. This will help me measure the color and the saturation of the marker. See, that's very dark. So I keep them in order. This is my little dictionary. Now some people will set this up on their wall based on the current markers that they have in there. See, those two look very close. But you got to wait till they dry too. Like I said, I don't remember which one of my markers are strong, which ones have a pink cast to it. So this I could save for later. This one will give me that airbrush feel out on the extremities of my sketch. So see, this one's got a pink cast to it. But just keep them all in order. That way you'll know when you look at your swatches up here, you'll know which one to go to, and then put it back. Obviously, don't screw up your order. You'll mess up your whole palette here, your whole swatch system. So some look like they're the same. Some are ancient markers I've had for a while. Others just seem to die so quick. So this one's brand new, so this one's going to be nice and juicy. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in, I'm going to use my brush, get all that stuff off there. Don't wipe with your hand because the oils, the sweat on your skin. I'm going to come plot in the reflections in the side of the car. So the reflection is going to come right where the side returns. It's going to be right in the center there. So I'm going to, this body section here, I'm going to just bring it in like this. And since it's far enough from our eye, I'm not going to do that much right now. I'm kind of just plotting. Now this one, since it has a beautiful body roll to it, this one's going to be right about a little lower. So this is the one I'm going to hit a little harder because it's closer to our eye. So this is the horizon line behind us over here, reflecting. Like I said, the best scenario is the sun is setting on the Bonneville Salt Flats and you're out there showing off your car with a single light source far off in the distance with the setting sun. Now, as the body rolls down, this horizon line is going to break up. The more straight up the car is, the wider this line is going to be. If it's real pinched, like this area here, it's going to be crisp. So what I can do is I can either hit this with a pencil, or hit this with a marker, or hit it with both. So I'm going to come by here and just mark that line. Give it a little crispness here. And then I'm going to come down, just lightly sketch it in, and get to the roll in the lower quarter panel. Sometimes I'll come by and sketch in my wheels, because that kind of sets my stage too, gets my energy going in the direction I want it to go. I show a deep dish classic retro on that side view or that front view, but I may just do something a little more contemporary. Update the car. And I'm looking for my ink pen that I just had in my hand. And I need a big stockpile of them. It's gray. And I can't find it. It's not there. Oh well, okay. We'll get it. We'll find it. So I'm just going to do since it's a skirted vehicle, I'm just going to do something out on the perimeter here. So this is being far enough from our eye. There's not going to be much detail on the wheels back here, but I just need to show an indication that it's the same wheel. So what I'm going to do is get my trusty ship's curve right here. Seen a lot. It's broken. It shouldn't be broken. And I'm going to come set this line in for the rear quarter panel, the skirting. It's going to sweep up to the corner. So since that's a shadow, it's going to be a dark, rich line. I'll trim it off that way and give me a little radius here and just fade it off. Give me a little radius here. Sweeps are like a ruler for curved lines. So since I can reach around this tail fin, I'm going to give it a little heavier line. And sometimes I'll rotate the pencil so I'll always have a sharp edge. And I'll do that to the right side one as well. And sometimes it's fun just to not take it all the way. Just add that light, airy, sketchy feel to it. like that. Now, my eraser, I'm going to come back and get rid of some of this stuff here. I still have to do the top, but since it's a removable hard top, I may make that a different color. So I'm going to get rid of all this stuff. See how the pastel just erases off? And what I do is I can come in and sketch in my contours here. And just gradually, lightly, like I'm sketching with a pencil, only I'm taking things away. Just lightly get rid of that extra pastel. And what you can do is you can come back and sketch with this by giving yourself, I'm going to come back with the chalk and I'm going to give it a bath of chalk down here in the horizon. This is the ground reflecting into the side of the car. So I'm going to come in and burnish it in nice and deep because I'm going to take some of it off. A lot of times some people will use baby powder like this. Buy a small little baby powder. It'll last you forever. You put a little bit of that on the pastel. It will thin things down, soften things up. So you put a little baby powder on there, and it really does a good job of blending. So then you just lay this in. I'm thinking about this lower cladding to be a different color. Maybe separated with a pinstripe to match the top. So I've got my sides in. And what I'm going to do with the eraser is come back and give it a little artistic flair to it, a little reflection. So I'm sketching with the eraser and it's pulling it away, and it'll give me a little, looks like there's something on the pavement. Give that car a light, airy feel. Like that. Now, there's another school of thought. This color's got to be just as intense in those areas as well. So, what I do is I come back in this area closest to our eye and darken that up. So this is going to be a soft roll into the body side. This over here's got a different section line to it, so it's going to reflect light differently. So now the other sketch, I'd used a teal interior. So maybe I'll try another color. Since it's a convertible, maybe I'll do a coral, a reddish coral color, like the colors that were in the 50s and early 60s. That would give me the flavor of what a roadster should be. Now, again, take my eraser, come back and highlight this area because it's going to catch some light. So you can practically shade the whole car with an eraser and a piece of chalk. Again, it's not necessarily the tools that we use, but it's the message that we're conveying as to what the shape of the car looks like. We're going to give a little reflection here because that area may pick up a little ground tone from the bottom. So, got that laid in. I'm going to go with my traditional scents and make the tires and wheels all black. So all the undercarriage is going to be black. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fade it out. This is going to be a faded. So sometimes it's good to save your old marker because you'll need it. So I'm going to make this nice and dark rich here. And sketch the rim here. While my hand is in this position, I try to grab everything that's making that same angle. See, my marker's starting to fade, so what I'll do is I'll just come and fade this out. Again, it's farther from our eye, so we don't need that much detail. Now what's good is you come back with a juicy marker and only hit the dark sides on there. So again, they're going to have some darkness in here. They're going to be low profile tires, so I'm going to come back and hit those with an ellipse. So I'll lay in where the shadow is. And the shadow is going to extend beyond the car because the sun is setting over here, so the shadow is going to be longer over there. So let me trade this off for one of my juicy ones. Let me mark this marker. I'm going to mark it with a mark so I'll know what it is. That's one of my dead soldiers. So, and I use Sharpies because I go through black so fast, the chalk will eat up the marker. So I go through Sharpies. You can see I got another dead one here. So put that one in the ranks. Let's try another one. I think I got a juicy one here. Yeah, much better. So I'm going to come back and hit this. Everything underneath the car is going to be dark. We're going to keep it, makes the body just show up even more. Contrast is key. Contrast is what we look at. It's what stimulates us. We don't even know it. We look at someone's face, we see their eyes and their teeth. It's because there's contrast there. That's why ladies get deep eyebrows, deep eye socket makeup on so they can blast your eyes forward. So that becomes the focal point of their face. It's all applicable. Low contrast, you want to fall asleep. And back in the old CRT screens, there was so much static on the screen that we didn't even comprehend. We didn't even register in our conscious, but it was registering in our subconscious. So that's how the human brain works with contrast and stimulation. So there's the shadow. I'm going to come back and hit the deep side, the shadow part of the shadow, like that. I'm going to give the car a little body, little mechanicals under here, the guts. I'm going to sketch that in, and it's going to raise up just a little bit because that quarter panel is going to come down where the vent is. So I'm going to do it again. So, I'm going to do the glass in a magenta color. I've got a marker And then I've got some pencil. I'm going to try these markers as well. And some pencil. You, Raj, come on. You had it here. Put that out. It's my lighter colors. I got my magenta chalk. Again, I'm gonna mix this up right now with my blade. Again, I tilt it up on its side. I run the blade down. New pastels they've got a glaze on them when they come from the factory, so they're a little hard to break that glaze. So they stay dust free when they're in the pack. So this is a pack here I've had for about 20 years. You see some of them I've never used. And a lot of them I use all the time, like the sky blues. So that's I'm going to grab a fresh pad. I'm going to lay in my reflections or my contours in the glass. So I'm going to come in here and shape the glass, shape the shading the way the glass is curved. Then I'm going to come in here and get see, I don't know whether you guys can see my big head in the way. Very lightly on the glass because this is reflecting light from the sky. It's reflecting light from a different source than over here. Now what I'll do is I'll come back and hit this with pencil because I can get a core going through them. I'm going to erase this off of here because this is supposed to be that could be white. I could leave it white. That may not look bad. White with the white down below and maybe a magenta stripe to break it off. That could be an idea. Let's go with that. That would be really effective. So the white is going to have a little bit of a value change here. It's going to have just a little bit of value change. So let's get a little bit more color right there, like that. Basically the same thing is happening in the body side as the body shape is curved over. This is called tumble home. As it's curved over, the light is going to be reflected from here, not out here. So you're going to pick up a different light. So we'll make that transition. That just stuck out at me. Okay. Now, since that's done, what we can do is come back in and clean up. Let's do this. Let's lay in our horizon line. It's basically the same line that's going to be here, but it's going to be curved a little bit because the glass is curved. It's curved at a different angle. So we're going to kiss it like this, show a little elliptical. Now, for a sketch to look as real, we will want to show that same color in the core, that part that curves over. So what I'm going to do is I am going to ba-da-bum-bum-bum. Let me look in my supply of pencils here that I don't rarely use. and see if I can come up with a magenta that's better than this. That may have to be on my list of things to buy. Unless I just plain old misplaced it. Oh, I should have had this rehearsed, but I was thinking off the cuff here. Okay. Let's see how this does. So I'm going to come in and just blast this core. Oh, this is not going to look bad. Come in and blast the core. I usually grab another sheet of paper. Just a scrap, so I don't get my oils on the pastel. So just come in and lay this down in a core and then just shade it off, because as it curves it's going to start picking up sky color. So like that. And what I can do, this is a little fun, I'm looking at that marker versus my pencil, and this needs a little blue. So I'll come back and lay a little blue on top of the, try to get it to match. So just lay a little blue in the core here. Fade it out. A sharp pencil would be nice. Okay, I'm going to come back and hit it with this. Now, if my sketch were bigger, I could come and lay, excuse me, not bigger, but if it were a different paper, I could use a spray fix on it, which would seal the bright magenta on there and then just lay the blue on top of it. Or on a vellum, I could work the other side with the light and then come back and hit it on this side, then come back and hit the dark on the back side, and it would just show as a faded airbrushed color. But I have to get a vellum pad. Sometimes you can catch them on sale. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the interior panels with a little shading here to make it look like that glass is transparent. And this is a technique that I've seen, and I just learned how to start doing it myself, and it really makes the sketch believable. So a little shading on the headrest of the rear seat, which is the closest to our eye. Again, my light source is coming from here, so everything on the back side is going to be darker. So I'll come back and hit that with a pencil, with a black. But it's only going to happen in here in this shaded area, because over here, where the alternative light source is coming in, or the light from above, we're not going to see that much detail. So this is like that. Then I'm going to give a little tuck to the headrest here. Get a little shading on the back side of the headrest. Down in here. Now again, this is not going to get that much light because this is the bright light coming from the side. So, let me grab my good old trusty black and give myself a little highlights here, a little depth here. Get me excited about my own sketch here. So I'm going to show the part lines here. I'm going to fade them out where the light is going to come in. So the light's going to be coming across here, so I'm not going to see that much detail. On this one, I'll see a lot because this is going around the curve. It's on the back side of the roof. Sometimes you can let the pen just show through. I still haven't found my pen. Just let the pen show through. Oh, there it is. And that can be your super thin black line, a super thin black part line there. So, you're also going to see a little reflection over here on the roof because of whatever's over here. And we're going to leave that to the viewer's imagination as to what's over there that the car is reflecting. And it's going to show in the body side as well. So we're going to give it, I see a problem already. This roof needs to curve down like that. So we're going to give it a little kiss of something over there, causing it to reflect in the window. And this helps show curvature of the glass. If it were really curved, you'd have a slither of a reflection. If it were a flat piece, it would be all the way back to the center of the car, at least. You always want to show a little crown in your body parts. So, we're going to come back to the body side, and I'm going to give you a little eye candy over here on the quarter panel, or in the bumper, to show that it's being reflecting something on the side. And I fade it off like that. Now, the quarter panel, or the tail fin, is going to get a little, because this is like a razor, it's going to get a little there, but this is a radius here, so it's going to get a little fat there. Now, on the in cut for the tail light, this side is going to pick up the same reflection. So you're going to do a little bit of a right there like that. It's going to break off like that. Now, brings me to the tail lights. Again, we're going to show reflection. So I want to get the reds and a red pencil, and then even we could do a burgundy marker or a burgundy pencil, because I want to show the same light coming on the body panels as there would be on the tail lights. Again, I'm going to erase this to show my contour, because this is going to face the sky. Tail lights are deep set. Now on a regular piece of vellum, you can do this on the back side. You can really work the sketch back and front. And that's the fun part of vellum. You're almost doing two sketches for one presentation, because sometimes the back side will look just as good as the front. So I'm going to bathe this in red, and then I'm going to come back and highlight it. Well, I need to break that taillight up, so I'm going to put a little fold in it. So the taillight's going to come out just a little bit, and then it's going to tuck in. So the center line is going to come out just a little bit and tuck in. Now this helps you as the viewer. It also helps me as a reference. So with that being said, the taillight's going to catch some light. So I'm going to blister it. Like that. So while I'm at it, I will highlight my third brake light. Federally mandated since 1987 or 88. There. Again, it's showing a little light reflecting on it, so I'm not even going to hit that with a marker. I'm going to just come in and blanket everything in red. Give it that little sketchy feel in the red. Now, I may have a problem here because I didn't set it up right, so confession is good for the soul. This should be thinner. This should be coming down like this as the rear faces farther away. I should have planned this a little better. I'm just seeing this now. So maybe I can correct that in the sketch. We'll see. We'll see. You're trying to sell the idea. You're not trying to distract the viewer with a bad sketch or a poorly drawn sketch. So what I can do is come back with my white pencil and try to even this up. This should be down. I'm going to sneak and do a little white out. I'm human too, so I make mistakes. In no way am I perfect. I mean, my God, everybody's going to have their own style of doing things. And you create your own look. There. Now, I'm going to come back and hit that with some pastel or some pencil a little later. So let's take a look at the car. Let's see, I think I need a little more eraser work on this body side. Best thing about pastel is you make a mistake with this, you just come back and you hit it again. Keep that horizon line nice and crisp. So what I normally do to hit it harder, make it really crisp, so I'll come in with my sweep and I'll lay in a real crisp contrast line right here. That makes that car look really super shiny. Since I've got a little curve to it, I'm going to lay this in like that. and just come back and just carry it off to the end here. Show a little bit of curve in that horizon. And then what I'll do is I'll come back and make this body cut here. The reflection line gets compressed in that curvature of the body. So I'm going to come back and hit that. And I'll come back and hit it again with a white pencil, just to show a little contrast there. And then take one of the pencils that matches your chalk. I'm going to show this body section roll just a little bit. That'll give me the effect of it rolling as it tucks in for the vent or the vent panel or the just the sculpting right there. Because up on the top, it's going to be deep cut more. So I'll just come in and blast that edge. Again, value contrast, making it's going to be a metallic car, so there's not much contrast there. But the areas of detail, you want as much contrast as possible. So I'm going to come back here and hit this belt line area with a black, where the window comes up and down and all that kind of good stuff. There should be a molding there. I'm going to give the mirror a shadow. And little stuff like this, you don't really need to detail it up. Just show an indication. So I'm going to shade it just a little bit. I don't know whether the mirror will be chrome or not. The front has got chrome, the back has none. So that's going to be interesting. Let's just see what I can do. Think back here in the back. I'm going to make the exhausts black. So maybe the edges of the exhaust tips will be chromed. So chrome is real simple method. It's black, maybe gray, but it's sky blue and yellow ochre. Sky blue for the reflection of the sky, and yellow ochre for the reflection of the ground, with a little horizon in there. Since I'm doing this so detailed, I'm just going to do it with the ink pen, like that. And come back and get rid of some of that gray. So I have some white showing. Sky blue. Now, this sky blue's got to be up here too on the car. So let me and then the yellow ochre, we'll do the ground tone. And pick up a little yellow in there, a little yellow in here. We'll do the ground tone. So I just take my pencil. You can use a chalk. You can use a chalk. Sometimes it's good to just use it raw. Just come in and lay it in. And then you come back and dust it down with a cotton pad. Take some of this and hit it up in the car, because that's going to reflect. Some people will take and just run the pastel over the pad over the pastel, and you'll get just a little bit of transfer on there. So it's telling us that that panel tucks under just a little bit, enough to pick up that ground reflection. Now some people will come back, and I'll do it. They'll hit this body structure right here with a line. Now this will also show up on the wheels, so you can blast the wheel if you want. Since these are somewhat got a little bit of a curve to them, I'm going to blast it up here too. So it's coming along. Now I'm going to need to get some sky tone in there. Since the car's magenta, or the glass is magenta colored, I'm going to use a sky blue. I used it on here, so I'm just going to come in and lay this pencil right in here and give you a little indication that the sky is light blue. Now the reflection in the tail light is going to be a little bit different, but we're going to highlight it as sky blue. I don't know what the blue and red together, whether it would turn to purple or not, I don't know. So we'll just do this on the trunk, the top of the trunk. I see something I need to do. I need to get rid of this right here. Make that tail fin stick out more. Look at that. Awesome. Okay. Come back and give a little hint of blue up here. A little hint of blue on the top of the roof. Have it fade as the glass rolls down. There. And give me a little highlight of the sky coming through. Now the wheel is going to get a little bit of that too. Now what some people will do is come back and lay a little purple on top of that, just to add some dimension to the reflection. So come back in and lay a little purple on top. A little lavender. Oh, I forgot my side marker light. Taillights aren't done yet. Now, fun thing to do is always to do the part lines. Sometimes the pencil lead will break off in the pencil sharpener. That's why art supplies cost so much. Half of them get used. And I grabbed the indigo blue, not the black. How about that? All that for nothing. Again, I'm going to grab my piece of paper so my hand doesn't bruise the sketch. Okay, now I'm going to take my red pencil. I'm going to do a little highlighting on this tail light. And a little white too. Just add a little dimension to it. Since I've got something over here reflecting, I'm just going to leave this section of the taillight white, or try to make it lighter. Again, it's a different material, it's translucent, so it's going to pick up a different light than the body panel. So I'm just going to make it consistent with the reflections. Like that. So beyond the half line of the car, it's picking up another light. Now, to really make it read good, I come in and take a dark red burgundy and I shade up the contrast in that lens. Right where it's going to change color. Just so it has that feel of it breaks and goes around the other side. So, that being said, I want to hit this. I want to hit this area here, the body color, and have that fade. Okay, now let's match up the wheels with the roof. So I can do this a couple of ways. I can make the wheel 100%. Yeah, let's do that. Let's make the wheel 100% magenta. So I'm going to grab a new pad, come back to my magenta. I'm going to paint the wheel magenta. Again, I'm going to leave the outer edge of it white because it's going to pick up light from the sky. So just through the horizon, it's a relatively flat wheel, hubcap wheel. Nobody does hubcaps anymore. Like that. And the same curvature in the body side, you're going to get it up here, just a little bit. Now what I'm going to do is come back and hit it with a pencil, and also hit it with the eraser. So I'm going to give it a little contrast here. Maybe do a little squiggly, the reflections breaking across it. Little reflection up in there. Show a little dome to the wheel. Now here, because it's closer to our eye, I'm going to take the marker. I'm going to blast this pretty good. It's going to have a shadow under there. So this is going to be dark. It's the curvature of the wheel. So like that. Now, what I do for this, if my marker is not dark enough, I come back and lay a little black in here to give it that deep, deep shadow look. just very lightly. So I'm going to come back with my eraser and clean up Can you see that over there? Yeah, I think you can, yeah. Just clean up the wheel, make it look a little shiny. Come back in and do a little eraser action on it. Like light breaking up. This is a classic case where you need the thin side of the marker, the thin tip. And I'm just going to come in here and just do a little squigglies because I don't like the way it's not reading. Like that. Now, I said I was going to add a pinstripe to the body brake, which I've all but ignored. Let's just come in and lay the body brake here on the lower quarter. So the car's going to have a little taper to it. So it's going to, this is where the body panel is going to, the one it's going to meet the other, or the plastic will overlay it. Then I'll have a little radius here. And then I happen to have a pencil that was, the lead was put in crooked. You can see it's off center. So it's not getting as sharp. Let me graduate up to a new one. There goes another $2. So, this body panel is going to fade into the fender up front. So, I have a curve like that, and then a little bit of a curve like that. So what I'm going to do is come in. It's going to be a brave one. I'm going to hit that with a marker. The thin side of the marker. So we'll come in. Give me a little like that. Like that. Now, the stripe is going to go around the corner. So, I am going to hit that area with my black pencil to show it comes around here, go up a little bit, the exhaust, and then down like that. So I'm going to just lay this in there. Show a little light break there. Okay. Getting close to being done here. I'm stepping back and looking at it, and I don't like what I'm seeing with my taillights. They could be better. They look a little scratchy. you guys have any suggestions, give me a comment. Maybe it just needs another application of just plain old red. Now, if this were vellum, I could come on the backside with black through here, and it would read as a light gray or a muted gray, not as strong. So, let's see if the burgundy will pick it up just a little bit. Yeah, I'm kind of liking this. It's going to get a little, come to think of it, it's going to get a little brown reflection. We're going to kind of cheat this because it may not. But we're going to cheat it and say that it does, just so you'll know it's aiming the other way. If you're not paying attention to that center line. Right there. One thing I am missing is the license plate. So, let's give it a hole for the license plate. Sketch it in. And we're going to sketch in the deep set on it. That. Now, another benefit, like I said before, of pastel is come in and erase it off. And this, since it's the center line, we're just going to erase a back cut here. Save the sketch. Okay. Now, I'm going to come in with my pencil, my body color. There it is. And I'm going to sketch in, shade in this area here. And this area here is going to be blasted. Show my shadow here. Like that. So nothing too flashy here on the license plate holder. It's just a retro car, so I'm just going to cut the hole in there, and I'm going to give it a little sky color to match every other surface that's facing up. And a little bit of ground tone because this side's facing down. And that pinstripe could probably go, no, I don't want to put it, no, we'll leave it there. We'll leave it there. Okay, I'm going to do a little hit on the side door cuts. Just do that where the shadows are. Do this. My Thunderbird has a unique door handle because the 60s ones were absolutely fabulous the way they did this detail. There is no door handle. The chrome strip that runs through the door is the actual door handle. And what they did was they cut a void in the stamping. So I'm going to show the void here and show the void up here. So that's going to have to be shaded accordingly. There's the bottom side where you reach under the handle. Then this is going to have to be I should have used a lighter pen like that. Now this is going to be highlighted, so I'm going to take my eraser again, come in and just pull off that pastel to reflect that door cup. So that's the finger cup. And because the doors have to be pull doors, I'm going to show you a cut line there. Then I'm going to show you the cut line up here. And then down here. Just leave that area where the light is the strongest through the body side. Leave that the pen lines. It'll give it a light, airy feel, and it'll also let you know that the sun, the reflection is so bright that we can't see the detail. It's all washed out. Okay. I'm a sucker for wheels and wheel arches and things like that, so I gotta show a little detail here. Deepen up this line just a little bit. And like I said before, contrast is king. So we're just going to lay a little black in these holes. A little indication of there's something going on here. There's a little eye candy coming around as the wheel spins. You can see it under that skirt. Give that car a long, low feel to it. There. Now, I'm going to hit it and get out of here. So I'm going to get my white out. Oh, I see a problem. I see a problem. Eraser. Get that roof to sing a little bit more. There. Get this this white body cladding. Get it to sing too. So, trying to think out loud here. Still not happy with the taillights. Gonna clean things up. Visually, they're stimulating my eye too much. Maybe they need a little contrast with the part lines. Maybe I need to hit them with the black, or even a black pen. Just hit them. Okay. Now back to my highlighting. Oop, I'm going to, like with all the other sketches, the sun is setting off to our left, and we're going to let the sun show up here in the body side. Give a little blip there, a little blip down here, a little doodad on all the holes in the wheel. These are far away, so I'm not going to do that many of them. A little doodad on the chrome tip exhaust. Maybe one right in the corner of the license plate, on the tip of the blister on the tail light, maybe a little tiny one on the there. Now some guys will come along and do a sparkle right on the tip there, but I don't know whether that's very 50s to do that. I will do this to make that body read better. Let's come along. Since this area is closest to our eye, I want to make this contrast nice and sweet. Gradually blend that out. There. Now what I'll probably do is, you know what, I should do this now. Probably set a backdrop down behind it. But since I'm messed up on that roof angle, I'm going to go correct that with a black backdrop. Like the other one I did, this is the first demo sketch of the sedan. I'm just going to do a simple black backdrop. And I can correct this and modify it in Photoshop with a sampling of the color around it and extend it. Okay. Again, always make your backdrop extend beyond the front or the back of the car. Now, if I'm doing it up the other way where it's extending off the front, the backdrop should not be that clear because it's farther away. But since it's on the back side here where I have to correct this up here on the roof, I'm going to use it all black. Now, what I normally do is, so I'm not uncomfortable, I take the sketch out of the pad. I should have done this first, because invariably I'm going to find a fault with it somewhere. Spin it around. A, I'm not damaging my sketch, and B, I get a better stroke of my wrist. So I'm just going to come in and just grab all those surfaces that are turned. sure it's wide enough through here. There is a marker called a Ninja, which is super wide, and that's where you would grab it and use this. One of my instructors way back when I was in college, Camilo Pardo, he's a designer at Ford. He did the Ford GT40, both versions, the new one and the first one in the early 2000s. He used to do sketches with a Ninja. It's a marker with about a 1-inch wide nib on it. Of course, he's working at Ford. He's got an unlimited budget. He buys Ninja markers by the case practically. And he can do it. And he's very much a fine artist as well as a good car designer. And his work is amazing. Absolutely amazing. And you stand back 50 feet and look at it, it's a regular sketch. You look up close and it's like, oh my gosh, those strokes are an inch wide. So I'm just going to gradually just sawtooth this whole thing. Yeah, a Ninja marker would make this really quick. So since I'm going to fade it off the side of the paper, I just want it to be solid black all the way to the end. So this is a very product design thing to do. Just throw a backdrop, a square backdrop behind it. A lot of guys in the car studios will do an airbrush